There once was a man from Nantucket, and he liked to spit in a bucket. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SkaredCast. I think that's how that little thing goes. I'm Skari, your grateful host. This is the studio. I've got tons of sprues over there. I've got tons of trophies over here, and I've got tons of models over there, and a bunch of bits and stuff over there. My paints, my books. So it's a grand combination of different things. This is the List Crunch, which is a weekly Friday afternoon show that I do exclusive for Patreons. Today, though, I have unlocked the door to the catacombs of the Dark City, and I've invited all of you to watch with me. So if this is your first time here, tune in. And if you'd like to see these on a regular basis, you can support me on Patreon. I do a Meta Monday every Monday and a List Crunch every Friday, where I get to take your lists and break them down and give you some cool options, ideas, concepts, things that you like. So today we have a couple of submitted lists by the the denizens of the Dark City, ranging all the way from Drukhari to Space Wolves to Guard to Black Templars to the entire spectrum of the factions. Now, we do have a live chat, so I'll be answering some live questions as well, and I hope you enjoy. Sit back, relax. This is going to be a 45-minute to an hour-long experience, which will be great. I hope I sound okay. I've got my nice and comfy hoodie on and everything. I'm ready to rock and roll. There's not really any sort of intro music or anything for these videos. Da 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 da. Huh? But let me know what you think about all the lists that we go over. So if you've been watching this and you are a Patreon, how do you get your list submitted for me to take a look at? I post a thread on the Patreon page every Monday where you can post a list, and I can do that. Or join the Patreon Discord, and we have a whole list crunch section where you can post your lists there as well. And on Fridays during this video, I sift through them, we talk about them, and you get my thoughts. Whether you take my thoughts and roll with them, or you take my thoughts and discard them into the rubbish bin, completely up to you. All I get to do is use my lovely voice to blabber on about the amazingness that is Warhammer 40,000 9th edition. Hello, everybody in chat. Welcome. We've got Caleth, Charles as well. The sound is good, just has a metallic reverb vibe. I know. I sound like I'm in a tin can. Thumbs up for the tin can. Let's get this party on the road. Okay. So we have our first list for the day is from Alfredo Phillips, who has submitted a Drukhari list. Fancy. It is a raiding force. And, of course, Drukhari. Brand new codex coming soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed it doesn't get delayed again. Please. So it's cool to see you, Dark Eldar players out there, still being creative with and showing, especially after the LVN Open, showing everyone what we've got with a really old codex, which is great. So it is a Prophets of Flesh patrol with a homunculus. You did put 85 points for the homunculus here. The homunculus is 80 points, at least from the last FAQ update with all of the weapons. So you save 5 points there. Then we have 8, 9, 10. 10, so 2 units of 10 racks with an Ossa Factor. Excellent choice. 2 Tantaluses. Well, I don't own 2 Tantaluses, but that sounds exciting. Am I in a tin can? I am in a tin can. And I'm getting this right now. Confirmation. Yes, I am in a tin can. This is my tin can. No, help me out of here. Then we have a Raider dedicated transport with a Lance. Okay, that sounds fine. So we've got a Kabbalah Blackheart detachment with an Archon, with Soul Thirst as a warlord trait. Cool. And Drazar. Interesting choice. Drazar, I don't know. I don't feel the huge increase in points was warranted for what his rules are currently. But if you still like him as a killy close combat unit, sure. Excellent. 5 Kabbalite Warriors, a unit of 6 Incubi, and a unit of 10 Incubi. Cool, so 16 Incubi. Another Raider and 1 Venom. Okay, if you're taking Incubi, then taking Drazar is okay, because he makes them much better. Then we have the Cult of Strife detachment of witches with a Succubus. I believe she's 60 points now, with all the... No, is it 65? Anyway, she has all of her upgrades on there, which is cool. 5 witches, and then 6 reavers and 7 reavers. So it's almost 2,000 points. Double Tantalus, 2 raiders, a venom, a couple of incubi units, a couple of reavers. So you're definitely putting a lot of stock in the 2 Tantalus. Like, they're fantastic. They do a lot of shooting. In Prophets of Flesh, they only get the +1 toughness when the Homunculus is around, which is fine. To be honest, what I would do in this list is I would make one of the Tantali. I would make it Cult of Strife, if you decide to go for Cult of Strife, which I believe you did. Oh, no, is it Great Grief? No, Cult of Strife. So Cult of Strife. I'd make a Tantalus Cult of Strife so you had access to the shoot twice stratagem, at least right now. Use it for the next couple of weeks. Of course, the new Codex is coming up. So honestly, with Dark Eldar, just play whatever you want. And then in 2 weeks, we'll readjust and reevaluate. Charles says, Vect already has his Codex. He's just keeping it to himself to take advantage of all of us. Vect would have access to the Codex early. That does sound a lot light and dark, like Vect. If you haven't already, click the like button. Okay, then we have... Okay, Honor actually sent me a revamped version of this list. So we'll go to the... Discord to make sure we take a look at that. Also, welcome to everybody who tuned in. I hope you've enjoying this. We just went over a really cool Dark Eldar list with a couple of Tantaluses. Oh, another thing I want to say about that list. The Reva jet bikes having like the 2 small units is okay. It's fine. However, I think you're better off taking 1 upgraded Reva jet bike unit than 2 with like no upgrades. If you're going for the no upgrades, then just take like 3 or 4 of them in the unit instead of like 6 or 7, so that you can just have like little move blockers, you know, like nothing super crazy. So you're not investing a lot of points into that unit. Another thing I'd recommend is try and put those points into that witch unit, because that Cult of Strife witch unit can kill things. Nathaniel says, Vect is the Dark Muse. Self-proclaimed Dark Muse, may I add. You know, because that's kind of how that goes. Okay, so Mortizuna is super excited because he liked the land speeder. Oh no, Curie from the list crunch last week says he really enjoyed changing to the 2+ always hit relic on his Ravenwing Talon Master, which I still think is disgusting. Anybody who hasn't seen some of the new lists coming out of the Dark Angels has probably been living under a rock, because they are crazy, crazy strong. Hello, John Fisher. How are you? Reavers ain't going to stop being fast move blockers even with new codex. Oh, I would hope they don't, you know. Hopefully we still have some advance and charge options to make them super fast. Nathaniel says, it was nice to see some love to the Dark Angels after lots of years. 100%, I agree. I definitely agree. I think any book that has been sort of like pulled through the mud and like hasn't had options deserves its time in the sun, right? I'm not the only one here. Like, you know who you are. You've been playing like a crappy codex for so long. Then your new codex comes along and you're like, yes, I finally get my chance. You can't let anybody make you feel bad for playing a codex that you love, even though it's totally busted and broken. See original Iron Hands players that were like, I played Iron Hands before it was cool. And then everyone's like, oh, it's so broken. It's so cheesy. And you're like, but I played them when they were shit, man. Scuba says, are you still playing Black Templars? What does your list look like? Yes, Scuba Diver. I have played Black Templars. I'll go over that in a second. 100%. I play Black Templars. I play Sisters of Battle. I play Imperial Guard. I play Dark Eldar. I play Eldar. I play Ynnari. I play a lot of different factions, not just Dark Eldar, although Dark Eldar is like my main love. Your thoughts on the Splinter Cannons and new Kabalite strat, says Imaginary Number. Definitely get to that at the end of the stream, for sure. I'll have a little Q&A question over there. Old school 2+ Feel No Pain from 7th. Ugh, shudder. No, not allowed. Not allowed. So the next one is Tentwin. It says, testing on my foot guard list was kind of limited. but also pretty swingy without committing to 200 to 300 bodies on the table. This is a full. We're talking about a full. This is a concept that Ten Twin has been like working on over the last couple of months. What I found is I could keep my conscripts on the board with some buffs like cover and psychic barrier, but infantry squads got shredded. I'm going to be testing this soon, so things will likely change. But the reasoning for Valhalla is that A, their vehicles barely degrade so I can rush middle easier, and B, leadership shenanigans for my conscripts with a super pistol, which is basically shoot guy, they're fearless, which is fine. C, most importantly, I can order my men to fire on the conscripts who get tied up in combat. It's very Imperial Guardy. I love it. So lots of fire, lots of plasma, and enough armor and bodies to hopefully be difficult to push from objectives. So with that in mind, let's take a dive. Inari. Love for the Inari. This is where my heart is. Inari. You did come to see me, to hear me sing. Is that the whole point? Sing about lists. So let's take a look at Ten Twins list. It is a patrol detachment of Iotan Gorgons. So a Scion detachment, cool, with 2 primes, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10, 5, 10. So 10, 5, 10 Scions. 1 squad with 4 plasma guns, 1 squad with 2 plasma guns, 1 squad with 4 hot shot volley guns. So lots of like shots. And then 2 Tempestus command squads, 1 with 4 melter guns, 1 with 4 plasma guns. Oh, that's 10,000 points. No, is that 2? No, that can't be 2,000 points. No way that's 2,000 points. Okay, that's 1 detachment. Okay, and then the second part of that detachment is a battalion detachment of Valhallans, which we talked about why. I do, by the way, on a side note, anytime you build an Imperial Guard list, I love having things that do deep striking, like Scions. And I think every list that you build for any faction should have something that can come at the enemy from different angles. So important to have that option. Now, because you can outflank most things or spend CP, it's good to kind of take a look at what the power level are for really kind of finding what the best options and combinations are. And then budget part of your command point resource at the beginning of the game to potentially put stuff into outflank if you don't have stuff that innately deep strikes into your list, but have like a plan. Be like, okay, against guard, I can outflank this. On this map, I can outflank 2 units and it costs me 2 CP or something like that. The more you sort of fit those strategies into your list, the more versatile your list will be, the more options you'll have when it comes to whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Jason says, list breakdown Eurovision style. Yeah, okay, and the singing too. Did you watch that movie, which was terrible? Anyway, Tent. Oh, it was actually really funny. I enjoyed it. I choose Gorgon specifically for their 5-inch deep strike for 1 CP. Fabulous. Thank you for chiming in there, Tent. Yes, also really good. Get them nice and close. Get onto objectives, like prevent like bypass screening, things like that, which can be really good. Have you seen these, Skari? I'm chomping at the bit to print some of them. Amazing alternate. Dark Kin. I haven't seen the link. The links are blocked in the chat, I believe. I run 3 Valks, 3 Taurox, 3 on the floor, 3 in the Soar. Oh, that's a fantastic way of putting it. But that's another good way of doing it. Like lots of different angles. You have stuff that's really fast, stuff that's on the ground, stuff that comes down on the side. It's a very Aeldari way of doing it, but in 9th edition, if you have multiple angles to get points from, the game becomes a little easier, I find. The Red Scout says, first time tuning into the streams, are these your lists? So these lists have been written by Patreons, and every Friday I do a list crunch. Normally, it's exclusive for Patreon supporters, denizens of the Dark City, and I talk about lists. I break down your list, I give you ideas and things like that. And today I decided to unlock the catacombs of the Dark City, and you can stare into my mind and see kind of like what that is. If you'd like to support the channel, the Patreon links are in the description, because this is what I do, and I hope you enjoy it. So enjoy it, sit back, relax, see where people's heads are at with different things. Give us the design and name or something. Time for a song along. Yes, yes. I like Skari. Okay. Then we have the battalion. So company commander. One has the Pietrov MK45 or whatever, the super bolt pistol that makes everybody fearless, which is an amazing thing. A Lord Commissar, of course, to give everybody better leadership, which is good. Now, which is really funny because, and he gave him Master of Command. Nice, to give him like an order, the ability to order stuff. That's really cool, actually. 30 conscripts, 30 conscripts, 28 conscripts, 20 conscripts. So you're looking at 60, 108 conscripts. Not terrible. Then we have an Astropath with Psychic Barrier. Then we have 2 command squads, one with three flamers and a heavy flamer, and one with 3 flamers and a heavy flamer. Then we have a special weapons squad with 3 flamers, and then we have 2 veteran squads, which is funny. I made a list for a coaching client, or like for a client, and I put veterans in there. And they were like, they sent me this email being like, I tried to do the math and the math doesn't add up because, like, how did you get these veterans to like 90 points or whatever? And I was like, it's a veteran squad, not a command squad, which is made up of veterans, because veteran squads are not used a lot, but they have ballistic skill. And he's like, oh crap, this is amazing. So yes, 2 veteran squads with 3 plasma guns in each. I love those, by the way. The only thing that I see about that is command squads I believe they have the better ballistic skill, right? They have ballistic skill 3. So why are you giving them flamers? Like, I get why in terms of like the dynamic of the list, but you're just wasting. Like, if you want them to be just flamers, then you might as well make them. They're cheaper than the special weapon squads, huh? Well, isn't that special for? Well, less dudes, I guess. That's really funny. Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. I was going to say, take another special weapons squad, but it doesn't actually make sense. If anything, I'd like drop 1 entirely and upgrade that command squad to have more plasma guns, or something that's going to take advantage of the 3-up ballistic skill. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chimeras with a heavy flamer, and 2 the last gun arrays. Well, that's a list that I'd look up and go, oh, this is going to be an absolute grind. So on a scale of like 1 to 10, I'd give it like an 8, because it's an army I wouldn't like to play against, and it would be really good at getting points. However, it is missing a bit of a counterpunch element. Now, a lot of the times when you build a list like this, adding in something that can punch is a good idea, just in case you're playing against something that sort of like bypasses a lot of the stuff that you have. Something as simple as like a Custodes patrol could like, but then again, like that's half your infantry army gone. Or like a little unit of Bulgrin. Doesn't have to be big, but enough that it's like in your opponent's back, like, I don't know, Death Corps of Krieg Rough Riders, or like the Death Corps of Krieg Riders. Because anything like that can kind of, you can shoot them out of combat, which is fine, but just have something, I don't know, a bunch of company commanders with power swords, or something that like gives you a bit of punch mid to late game once it gets stuck in and really messy. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but I feel like that's the only thing that's kind of missing. You've got the mobility, you've got the board control, you've got the firepower. You're just missing that little bit of kick in a pinch, basically. Who runs Scions with Yarrick? Well, I don't know. He also bypasses the conscript 50-50 chance on orders because he lacks the officer keyword. Cool, that's fantastic. Well, that's a cool little dynamic there, isn't it? Flamer spam would make Rollins want to burn something down. Yeah, that's hilarious, says Solve. See, we're looking, that's really cool. Like, the fact that he doesn't have, I did not know that the 50-50 conscript thing was tied to someone having the officer keyword, which a commissar does not. I guess conscripts would automatically follow the orders of a commissar, because if not, they get shot. Which is funny. I think that's Legends, isn't it? What's Legends? Oh, the demo charges? Maybe. Grenadier strats, I think, might have been. Hey, Alexander, what's going on, buddy? Nice to see you on the list crunch. Tanya, the War Mistress, did chime in and said that list would be like a lot of painting. I agree. I think painting, 200 models, Guardsmen, no less. Oh, I have a solution for that problem. Just put paint on it. I don't know if you can see my super high-tech hashtag that I use in social media. Then, of course, Tent decided to go ahead and put a picture of the list from TTS. I wish I could show you. It's hilarious. Lots and lots of folks. And then they went back and forth. Okay, so that's kind of like some really neat stuff on that front. So let's dive into Monte's list called Force Lunacy. Curious to see what this list is, because it is a document that I have to download, essentially. Oh, no, it's a virus. Nah, I'm just kidding. So, this is an odd list that is sort of designed around trying some non-meta Craft World Eldar stuff, see if it sticks, especially focused on objective secured, which is a rule where a unit can take an objective regardless of how many models are on the objective. So usually troops have this rule. This version has an Uthway battalion with 3 large blobs of guardians. The idea is to start on one side of the table and put the other 2 in deep strike. To start 1 on the board and put 2 in deep strike. Not to be played aggressively, but to come down midfield or on top of characters to hold space. Since there's really only 1 big unit on the board, you should always give it a 4++ when targeted, which is good. Don't forget you put the protected on it, right? The +1 to your saves, and that becomes a 3++, I believe. So you can really make them hard to kill. They also Uthway, so they have the base 6+ feel no pain. Yeah, and unlock Eldrad, who is amazing. Eldrad is a boss as well. They're also fearless thanks to the avatar. An avatar? Who are you trying to be here? Sean Naden? Probably. That becomes the core of the list, supplemented by the Avenging Strike Avengers in the smaller units for some actions, etc., etc. For oomph, there's Ilith and a 6-strong Spectre unit with 2 Decan and Wraithseers, and Azraman with access to Empower. It's probably a train wreck, but at this point, experimentation seems warranted, especially with an old codex. Okay, so from what you've told me, I kind of like the concept of the list, but let's take a look at the list itself. Now, what do you think of that list, or that sort of thought process? And how do you think of, like, what do you think of when you, like, put a list together? You know, do you just go, I just want to put as many bodies on the board? Do you go, I want to make a skewed list? Like, I'm curious. I really want to, like, understand how that works. YouTube only, says Alexander. Yes, it is on YouTube right now. Stares at 210 Gaunt carpet list. Ugh, shudder. Drop my list in the Discord channel in case you didn't do it already. It's the Blood Angels list. It says Undead Fred. Nice. Awesome. I'll take a look at that list as well. If you posted it in the Discord, it should have enough times to do it. Eldrad is nuts. Currently busy with Slanesh, though. Eldrad is busy with Slanesh? What did Eldrad do to get busy with Slanesh? Let the memes ensue. So, Force Lunacy. Eldrad in a battalion detachment of Uthway. Spirit Seer. Cool. Now, to be honest, I really, 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 really like the Foot Seer Council. I'll tell you why. The Foot Seer Council, unlike a Warlock or Spirit Seer, can have 2 powers from the Runes of Battle. Yes, they're not a character. However, you can hide them, put them in transport or whatever, and they get the access to the double the range of a power strat, which is really, really strong. But you have a 2-strong unit that's about a little bit more expensive than a single model, so there's more wounds in there, but you get access to both the Runes of Battle powers that you want. So you can actually have 2 of them and then pick which one you need to cast at the time. Even if one dies, you still have access to both of them, which I think is really, really useful and something that's often overlooked. So 20 Guardian Defenders with a Scatter Laser, 19 Guardian Defenders, and then 19 more Guardian Defenders. Can you drop the Scatter Laser and then put in more Guardian Defenders, or drop a few Guardian Defenders and then put in a second heavy weapon platform? Because then it's like the big block has the 2 weapon platforms, and then put it the cheapest platform, especially if they're just like bodies for the fodder, essentially, right? Then we have a battalion detachment of expert crafters, masters of concealment. Cool. And it's a battalion. Okay. Full battalion. Azraman, Avatar, Irilith, which is, I think, really cool. 7, 8, 9 Dire Avengers. 9 Dire Avengers, 9 Dire Avengers. 6 Shadow Spectres, and 2 Wraithseers. Azraman gives them an invul save, so they're pretty sturdy. See, Illyrith is really good. If you're going to go for Shadow Spectres, though, go for the full 10. They will nuke a unit of 20 Necron Warriors, especially with like Doom and Jink and stuff like that. But like, they'll just destroy a unit of 20 Necron Warriors. They're one of the few units that can completely wipe out a unit of Necron Warriors in a single shooting phase. 20 of them. And I feel it's worth taking the 10. If you take less than that, then you might as well take something like Warp Spiders to give you access to something super fast that can teleport and do actions for you, which I think would, in this case, probably be a better choice. Because the list you have is very maneuver, like you've got some deep strikes and stuff, and it's very like about board control and holding objectives, with like the Avatar and the Wraithseers doing most of like the killing, together with some psychic powers and Illyrith. And then Azraman can go in and be like that counterpunch, right? Like we talked about. So I like the concept of the list. It's not easy to play because it's a bunch of Eldar troops, which is not by any means like amazing. However, to complement the list, I think the Shadow Spectres, you put those aside and put in like, put in the Warp Spiders. I think that change makes a big difference, especially so you can get Scramblers and things like that almost guaranteed, essentially. Josh and Muffin says, "What's up? Just got here. Hope I didn't miss too much. I've been going for about 26 minutes. Yeah, but you can always rewind it and kind of watch it from the beginning." Undead Fred says, "Yep, Blood Angels. I already said. Shadow Spectres are dope, such pretty models. Correct. Eldrad and Ivrain are awesome. Yes. Love them back when Inari existed. Correct. Ivrain. So that's another like cool, awesome things like that. Give a thumbs up for Eldrad. The Eldrad list. That's right. Clickety clack it. Clickety clack that like button." It's from Philip DeFranco. Is that it? Okay. Next list. That was a fun list to go over. I liked it. Yeah, that's the only thing that I would really kind of recommend. It's not really a train wreck. It's just not easy to play. And then those like stacking buffs for the psychic powers are really go. Carl put a list up. He is going to a team tournament soon. And so he's built a 1,000-point list to complement his friends' 1,000 points of orcs. I don't know about you, but I love team events. Like doubles events are some of my favorite, because like when you go to a doubles event or with a friend, and they take like, I'm going to take all the aggressive stuff, I'm going to take all the shooty stuff, and you can make some really cool dynamic like lists that you would normally not see. I think that's really cool as well. Don't forget the side cat. That's right, with a brain. Correct. I agree. So we have let's talk about the orc bit first. So the orc bit is a Death Skulls. So already good. I love Death Skulls. Probably one of my favorites. Patrol detachment with a big mech with a custom force field. A weird boy that is a warp head and doesn't have the bones. Okay. Then 30 boys, 30 boys, 30 boys. Oh. And then 1, 2, 3 mega nobs. 90 boys, mega nobs, a big mech and a weird boy. Oh my gosh, that's good. That's about as much infantry as you need for like a 2,000-point game. So you're literally going to be running 90 orc boys as someone. So that alone, I love. I think that's really, really cool. Great way of your friend to just be like, I'm just going to put bodies on the board and rush them, right? So what do? You shoot, I assume. So let's take a look at your list. And the name of the list is called Oops, I Vected Again. Talk about pop culture. More like pop your enemy from afar. Pop, pop. Is that how that works? So we have Cabal Blackheart Spearhead Detachment. So going for the I don't want any command points whatsoever. But you have an Archon with Labyrinthine Cunning and Writ, so rerolls and rerolls, and 3 Ravagers with Disintegrator Cannons. It's pretty old school, not going to lie. And then a Patrol Detachment, so seriously don't want any command points, with Dark Techno Monsters, Mosses of Mutagen, with a Homunculus, 5 Rex, and then 2 Reapers. That's 1,000 points. The only thing I'd say is you don't need Masters of Mutagen because you have 0 poison weapons. So anything else other than Masters of Mutagen would be good. That helps. Like the regaining wounds is pretty good, or the do mortal wounds when you charge, which are 2 of the main ones that I like. But so you've got 3 Ravagers and 2 Reapers, a Homunculus and an Archon, literally sitting back and shooting the crap out of everything. It's 1,000 points worth of guns, and then 90 Orc boys. I don't know about you, but that's cranking up the doubles list to. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and that's awesome. I approve of that, except for the Masters of Mutagen, because you don't really need it in that list. But thank you very much for posting it, Carl. Really appreciate it. Okay, so Edu put a couple of lists up. Let's take a look at this. I know one list we would face as Carl on my Drukhari Orc list, praying Dark Angels and Quins. Oh, that's going to be an intense game. You need to kill all the transports for the Quins, get them out of the transports, and then once they're out of the transports, it's a lot easier to destroy them. As for the Dark Angels, they probably have a couple of Terminators, so your Ravagers are going to be working overtime. Same as the Reapers. Reapers especially, because I don't care if you wound on 4s. With Dark Technomancer, they fail to save, they're dead. There's no coming back from that. Even if they have -1 damage. Just dead. Absolutely dead. So let's take a look at Edu's raiding force. So we have a Patrol Detachment, a Cult of Strife. Lilith. Love it. 10 Witches. With +1 Strength and a Power Sword. Nice. Strong Power Sword. A Beast Pack Master. 5, 5, and 3 Razorwing Flux. I like it already. Just really good move blockers and being annoying. And a Tantalus for the double shoot. Excellent. A Drukhari Patrol, Dark Tech, Experimental Creations, Homunculus with a Hex Rifle, and all that good stuff. 10 Rex, 10 Rex, 5 Rex with also factors. Or 6 Rex. Sorry, you actually put 6 Rex? Oh, no. Yeah, 5 Rex. 9 Rex, 9 Rex, 5 Rex. My apologies. 2 Chronos, which are good with Dark Tech. Those Flamers, they do +1 damage, +1 to wound. They're actually really good. A Reaper and 2 Raiders with Disintegrated Cannons. Good, like a good firing support. Of course, the racks being bigger. I don't think you need the big rack units when you're doing that style of list, but sure. And then a Flayed Skull Patrol with an Archon. Cool. 5 Cablites, Slith, Scourge with 4 Shredders in each, and 2 Venoms. Why are you just putting the Venoms in Flayed Skull because they're faster and ignore cover? Honestly, you'd be better off putting them in the Dark Tech detachment and then making the Scourge go in there as well. So you can just have all of the dedicated transports be Dark Tech, so they all get the bonus upgrade for the weapon options. Which brings me to the question that somebody had asked in the chat, which was, what do I think of the Splinter Cannons? I think they're different. I like them. I like the fact that they are 2 damage straight, but the biggest thing I love is the -1 AP. If the Dark Eldar Codex gets -1 AP in a lot more different forms, that is going to have probably the biggest impact, more of an impact than just multiple damage, in my opinion. Because right now you can have volume of attacks, lots of stuff, but my witches, they get 4 attacks each, and they jump in, and they got 1,000,000 attacks, and I give you 10 saves, 0 AP. So then it's well, I just have to take my 3-ups or whatever, or 2-ups with the Storm Shield, and nobody dies. And you're well, that was a lot of rolling dice for no reason. So Andrew says, that's my list, dope. That's right, Andrew. Yeah, thanks for posting it. Really appreciate it. I bet Warlock Conclaves will be getting the Bodyguard rule with the decks. I doubt Warlocks would just jump into the way of bullets. So I'm not sure. They might add a whole new unit for that purpose. Who knows? But that could be. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. I just watched the entire mini Wargaming Crusade series, says Chris. Amazing. Love all the Dark Eldar content. Well, thank you, Chris. Really appreciate the shout out there. That'd be imagine ignore cover -1 AP Venoms. That would be amazing. By the way, if you haven't already, click the like button. We got a few people watching live and not enough likes. Let's try get it to 3,000 likes, everybody. That's right. I'm calling on you for the plug, God. Or no, it's the algorithm god. No. I wish poison would have gone to always auto wound on hits of 6. Well, we don't know what's going to come, right? Who knows? They might like make it crazy good or whatever. We'll see how that works. Brian says, I haven't made a list. I'm waiting for new codex before I play Drukhari again. And we've beat my Slaanesh list to death already. I thought they liked getting beaten to death. But yes, that is true. Ben says, my list now is just 41 Terminators, 1 bike, and Ezekiel. There isn't too much to say, I guess. Ben's just like rolling around in inner circle. He's like, oh, inner circle. Amazing. This is so comfy. So comforting. Oh, we have to play again, Ben. That would be so much fun. We'll play a game on TTS sometime. It'll be great fun. Okay. Like the click button. Says. Yeah, that's right. Like the click button, everyone. Do it now. Honor and I had a great conversation today. Because we just started doing some coaching light. So Trueborn Patreons get coaching light. So we have a conversation, we have a phone call, once a month, and we go over like tips and tricks and tactics and stuff. And so we had our first chat today. It was a very good conversation. And this is the list that he kind of came up with. And I thought it was a pretty interesting list. And so he's going to be playing it and wants to really make something that's not the run-of-the-mill Space Wolf stuff kind of shine. So this is kind of like his thought process, which is really cool. So here it goes. It's a battalion detachment of Space Wolves with Bjorn the Fell-Handed with a twin last cannon, Niall Stormcaller, because if you're going to take a Psyker, you might as well take Niall. He is amazing. Amazing. Najal. I used to say Najal. What do you say? Niall? Najal? A Wolf Lord on a Thunder Wolf. That is a Chapter Master. Storm Shield, Warrior of Legend, Pelt of Beowulf, Thunderhammer. Okay, so just like a really killy Thunderwolf Lord. Sure. Then we have 1 Incursor, 2 Incursor squads, and then 1 Intercessor squad with Morkai's Teeth Bolts, which is a really cool upgrade that you shoot at something, you hit it, and then everybody, friends, allies. So any Imperium gets, I think, plus reroll 1s to wound against that. So you can actually use that in allied lists, which is really cool. A unit of 5 Blade Guard Veteran. A single Redemptor Dreadnought? I thought there was 2 in this list. Oh no, he changed it up. Nice. So single Redemptor Dreadnought with the Plasma and Onslaught. Fantastic. And of course, all the cool stuff. Then 5 Wolfguard Terminators. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 with a Cyclone and Storm Shield. 1 with 1, 2, 3 with Combi Plasmas and Storm Shields, and 1 with a Thunderhammer and a Storm Shield. So little like 200-point beefy unit of Space Wolves. And if you haven't played against those Terminators, they're actually really annoying to deal with, especially with like little units. Terminators are annoying as all hell. 5 Inceptors. Oh, he put 6 in. Interesting. See, I would actually only put 5 in because I don't think you need the 6. And then you prevent the opponent's Inceptors from just nuking your Inceptors instantly because you're not at 6 strong. But you've put 6 in, so really doubling down on that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Thunderwolf Cavalry with Storm Shields, 1 with a Thunderhammer. Everybody else with Chain Swords except for the Pack Leader who has Lightning Claws, Frost Weapon. I believe you can make Lightning Claws Frost Weapons. That's a cool list. I like it. I think, we were talking, you took some of the things that I had said to heart originally, which is good. The biggest thing there is I would fiddle around with that 6th Inceptor. I don't think you need the 6th one. I think 5 is like good. Unless you're going to combat squad, so you can have 2 of 5. The Thunderwolves are good. Now, the other thing you can look into as well is if the Redemptor Dreadnought isn't working too well for you, those Invictor Tactical Warsuits are like one of the best things for Space Wolves, because it allows you to put a lot of forward pressure on your opponent. So if you did something like 2 Invictor Tactical Warsuits, 2 units of Incursors getting up in someone's face, and then if they go first, they have to sort of deal with that unit. So they can't really pin you in your zone. And meanwhile, you've got, 10 Thunderwolves or something running up the field, and it gives you that room to kind of really get the momentum going in the game. So, you also said you have Contemptors and Leviathans at your disposal. If you're only taking one Dreadnought, like the Redemptor Dreadnought with the Plasma Incinerator, then that's cool. Like, twist it around. Take a Leviathan sometimes. If you take that 6 Inceptor, you could probably put a Leviathan in with like double Storm Cannon, a whole bunch of stuff, and those are still really killy. Like, they kill things dead. They're very, very annoying to deal with. Also, in the chat, we're going to be opening the floor soon for questions for everybody. So if you have a question, make sure you post a question in the chat or forever hold your peace. Mortizuna, nice. You are not late. You're not late at all. Thank you very much for posting your list. Says detachment command cost. Oh, so it's a Death Guard list. Of course, Death Guard being brand new and Dark Angels, we're going to see quite a few like lists for them coming up. So it is a Plague Company detachment of some sort. I'm assuming it's a patrol, but it could be a battalion with 2 additional relics. So Death Guard Demon Prince, Revoltingly Resilient, so 5 up Feel and Pain, Gift of Plagues, has Sword, Serperating Plate, which, by the way, I don't think you need the Serperating Plate anymore. I don't know. I think they changed it to the point where it's like pretty useless. If that's just my opinion, because it does like 1 mortal wound the way it's written or something like that. And wings. Also, you don't really need wings. I think you can just, he gain like 3 extra inches or something. You can make him walk and it'd be pretty much the same thing. Alien Plague Caster. Okay, he's only 185 with wings. Oh, that's not terrible then. Then we have 5 Plague Marines with a Blight Launcher, 10 Poxwalkers, 10 Poxwalkers. And we have 2 units of 5 Blight Lord Terminators with a flail in each. Cool. 5 Death Shroud, 1 Foul Blight Spawn, a Plague Surgeon, and a Tallyman. So that's about a standard thing I think you're going to see in almost every Death Guard list. 2 Bloat Drones with the Flesh Mowers, which, by the way, are amazing. Those Flesh Drones are crazy. And then 2 Plague Risk Crawlers. It's a good list, to be honest. The only thing I don't think you need, or I think you need, are more Poxwalkers. Units of 10 Poxwalkers die way too quickly. Like, if anything, you could drop a whole Plague Risk Crawler and just fill in those Poxwalkers and then put in a whole other Bloat Drone almost. No, it's 100 points. You have 75 points left over. So you could drop like 1 Death Shroud Terminator, which I think you could give up. Plague Risk Crawler, Death Shroud Terminator, put in another Flesh Mower drone, because that's how much I love those things. I think they're really, really good. And then make those Poxwalkers 20 strong. I tell you right now, after playing against Death Guard, you are going to need those Poxwalkers, like hands down. Super, super important. Plate and ignore -1 and 2 AP is a cool build. Okay, so he's just like a 2-up save pretty much all the time. Makes sense. So maybe it works just to keep him really alive a lot, right? Honor says, it's midnight here. Can't wait to watch this in the morning. Wish you all have a great evening. Yeah, Honor, absolutely. We literally just went over your list like 2 seconds ago. But yeah, to recap, we've been going over lists today. We've been talking about the Patreon list that people have submitted throughout the course of the week, and of course, last minute right now, while I've been talking to all of you. This is a Patreon thing that I do every Friday. So if it's something you'd like to get involved in, you can always jump onto Patreon and support me and what I do, and have, this is one of the perks, which is kind of cool. Let me know what you think as well. Do you like me doing like these open the vault sort of thing, and like you can like see kind of like the behind the scenes stuff? I enjoy doing it. Fred says, I don't know if you got my list last time, so I'm reposting it. Okay. You didn't watch the video? I don't actually remember because there was a lot of lists. So it is a Blood Angel list. Perfect. There we go. Let's take a look at this. Relics of the Chapter ×2. We have Astoreth, Litany of Faith. We have Captain, Sanguinary Priest. Priest, of course, is the selfless healer, super, super priest. Okay, cool. And then the Captain is a jump pack, Hammer of Ball, Thunder Hammer, so super Thunder Hammer, and Storm Shield. So your classic Smash Captain, except instead of 100 points, he's now 160 points. 5 Assault Intercessors, 6 Intercessors, and oh yeah, I remember this list. I did go over it last week. 6 intercessors, 7 intercessors. Then we have a unit of 5. Oh no, Death Companies. 5 Death Company. 4 Thunderhammer. 6, oh no, 10 Death Company. Is it 10? I think it's 10 Death Company, yeah. Big unit Death Company, 10 Sanguinary Guard, Plasma Inceptor Squad with 6 Inceptors, and an Eradicator Squad with 3 Melters. Awesome. So I kind of remember a little bit of what I said last time. Nergling says, good evening, can't stay long, dropping in. Nice. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nergling. Thank you very much. Will you ever open more coaching slots, says Thomas? That's a great question. So I have, yes, I can open more coaching slots. Yeah, reach out to me and I'll slot you in if you want. How did I not get the ping? Says Monte. I don't know what happened. Shot in the dark, but does anyone play Creations of Bile? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, I'll get to the question in a second. I'm getting sidetracked. Sidetracking Skari is like an art. It's like an art form. So the biggest thing that I wanted to say here is you want to make sure that, so the intercessors at like 6 and 7, what I said originally is try and make that one of those intercessors 10 strong. So have a 5 unit of assault intercessors, then have an incursor squad so you can have some forward pressure or the ability to, or an infiltrator squad to have some backfield zone out. So you want something like that. And then if you're going to have an intercessor squad, try and make it a 10 strong intercessor squad. You can do this by dropping the plasma inceptors down to 5, because I don't think you need more than 5. I think 5 is like the sweet spot, and it prevents them from getting blasted to smithereens. It's like, and they're like a good point cost there. As for Death Company Marines, I think you're better off taking, instead of 1 big unit of 10, taking 2 units of 5. Or having 1 unit of 5 with like Power Fists or Thunder Hammers. And just having it as like a little missile that can go in and kill something, because you can pre-game move it and then get up in someone's face. As for the Sanguinary Guard, they're excellent. Combined with the Priest, they're really hard to kill. The Eradicators are okay to kill some tanks. You can also go for like a Redemptive Dreadnought. That also works really well because it also has some punching potential. But the Eradicators are not a terrible choice. They're a pretty good choice. The Smash Captain is a classic choice. And then Astrath. He's the chaplain guy, which is fine. I prefer the Sanguinor because of his crazy heroic intervention shenanigans. And I think having that in your back pocket is incredibly powerful. Like being able to be like, I'm going to heroic intervene out of deep strike, and then I'm going to do this thing where everybody only gets to fight me. So now the unit you were trying to kill is completely safe. Oh, you killed me. Well, I'm going to fight in death because I'm a space marine. Like there's so many cool little tricks you can do with that stuff that I think it's incredibly powerful to kind of shoehorn that into your list, basically. So, so, but that's fantastic. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that list. I really appreciate it. It's and that was what the kind of thing that I said last week as well. And then if you can do that, it just it makes the list a little bit more, have more depth of use. It's like any good list. If you want the list, you want to make sure that it has like different things that you can do to achieve your goals, essentially. So I hope you find that useful. Okay, so we're coming down to the close to the end of the stream. We're going to open the floor to some live viewer questions. So if you have any questions, real quick, we'll spend about 5 minutes or so just quickly answering questions. I hope you enjoyed me reviewing those lists. We went over some Dark Eldar ones, some Guard ones. We went over mixed Orc and Dark Eldar doubles team list. We went over Death Guard list, Blood Angels. So it's really cool to see, even Space Wolves. So I hope you found a good time. I had fun. The list crunch. As I say, you can't start your weekend in gaming without a good cheery bowl of list crunch. Crunchy. The shot in the dark. Okay, I personally don't play Creations of Bile, but it has some good play with like mixing things with the old codexy stuff. Gaming Co-op says, what are people's thoughts on the Orc Cannon Wagon? 2d6, strength 8, minus 2 AP d3 on a wagon stat line. Has +1 to hit from grots. How many points is that? It's a Forge World thing, I'm assuming. How many points is it? Coolio. Then big thing is what the list. Coolio. Then the big thing is that's the list I'm wanting to start with my Art of War coaching with, so this info is great. The captain is something I can easily replace, so I keep that in mind. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. The captain himself is really good, and of course, when we work together in our sessions, we'll kind of fine tune it. And once you've started like fine tuning it and playing games, and what's more important when you have a list is it's more important to play something that you're very comfortable with. I don't care what faction you play. I've coached people who play Sisters of Battle. I've coached people who play Guard, Ad Mech, Orcs. Right? I play, and I know every faction in the game, not just like Dark Eldar. But it's very important to play something that you're comfortable with, right? And you try and make that because you'll get the best results with a list that you vibe with. You feel the energy flowing. I know it sounds very hippie-ish, but whatever. 170 points also ignores line of sight. Yeah, I've seen Kyle, the Gary Guts Mech Shop Kyle, uses the cannon wagons. That's an option. Especially if it has Ramshackle, then it's like fantastic. Ramshackle is great because it stops a lot of the hard-hitting damage weapons from doing damage to your orc stuff. Byron Newton says, what does the Drukhari Codex need the most to be a new codex? Oh, you mean like what do I hope the most for the new Dark Eldar Codex? I'm assuming is what you really mean with that question, which is fine. Just gonna. So what do I think it needs the most? Secondaries, mission secondaries. I'm tight because I can go. Yes, I can do engage or dominate. Perfect. That's like one. I do scramblers pretty much every time. Awesome. And now I want something that I can go. I can do this and not have to worry about what my opponent is playing or what mission I'm playing. So I get like a third secondary option to score points on. So that's my I think because as I've proven is you can win the game by losing your whole army, which is fine. So your whole army just dies and you win. So you don't actually have to kill much. You just have to score points, which is important. The Court of the Archon, says Solve, was always the thing that appealed to me the most about Dark Eldar, as is this conglomerate of weird aliens, courtiers, and intrigue. What would you like to see from them in the new codex? I want to see about the same as what they are now, or the ability for like at least Slith to be bodyguards, to be like, you can't shoot an Archon until you shoot me. That would be amazing. That would be really cool. Keep the Archons alive. We're having more fun than a raider full of Sliths. Absolutely, we're having a lot of fun. Click that like button, or I will take you to see Vect, and you will not like that. Do you think the non-melee drones in Death Guard got any play? Flamer or Grenade Launcher variant? Well, I believe, Jonas, that they definitely have play. It just depends on the rest of your list. The thing is, those melee drones really fit into exactly the play style that you need for Death Guard, which is getting up close and personal. They also have some really cool, like a heroic intervention stratagem, which if you're not using a lawnmower, it's not nearly as powerful as if you're using like the Flamer variant. So you can put these drones on like objectives and then get the contagion, that -1 like toughness aura bubble, up in someone's face a lot faster, and you can use the stratagems to increase the contagion range stuff. So they can be like ahead of the lines, like mowing down things. Like my Void Raven bombers that I put into my list lately, every time they've run into those mowers, it's like full health Void Raven bomber, lawnmower, exploded, like dead Void Raven bomber. Doesn't matter, like every time, what scenario, like -1 hit, doesn't care. Like those things just nuke stuff. They're so good. So good. Arc Brave says, hey Skari. Hey Arc Brave, how are you? Sorry I couldn't tune in earlier. That's okay. I don't have any hard feelings about it. Moving on. Monte says, how do you decide when you want redundancy versus other tools? I struggle with this a lot when considering 100 to 180 point models. So I build my redundancy into the list that I'm making with other tools, if that makes sense. So there's a difference between copy paste, like, grabbing, like back in the day when I played Black Templars, I was like, last cannon, plasma gun, 5 dudes. Okay, last cannon, plasma gun, 5 dudes. And you just copy pasted that 6 times. And that was all your troop choices, was 6 last cannons, 6 plasma guns. And that was a pretty hefty, that was what was called like multiple small unit, but it was like a copy paste. So that did more redundancy, and it gave you limited tools. What I've learned to do with experience is fill in that redundancy by adding in different tools to the list specifically. So if I want some anti-tank, I'll have like my Raider with a Dark Lance. Then I'll have my Cavalry Warriors with a Blaster. Then I'll have my Archon with a Blast Pistol. Then I'll have my Heat Lance on a Reaver Jet Bike. I'll have a plane that has like a missile or something. So it doesn't seem like I have anything specific. Like I don't have like a unit that's all dedicated to one thing, and that so and what I've done is I've built that redundancy in different unit types. Now, this is a little harder to pull off because a lot of the times it's different ranges or different like battle stuff or whatever. But using moving and positioning, then I can, if I want to kill a tank, I make sure that the lance, the blaster, the blast pistol, the heat lance, and the plane all have a line and a bead and can target this one tank. So when you're looking at redundancy for anti-tank, I have the redundancy built into the list. It's just not 6 units of Cavalry Warriors with blasters. It's 6 different units with some form of anti-tank that if I need them to be anti-tank, I can focus on that one tank that needs killing, right? So it's harder to pull off, but that's how I do it. I like building in different units to help build the redundancy. And what that does as well is it then lowers it lowers the threshold for bad matchups, because then by putting in different units, it actually helps me with redundancy against like hordes, because I have witches or infantry or more tanks or whatever it is, and it de-skews my list to a point where now my opponent has to really think about target priority instead of which of these 6 exactly the same units do I need to kill, and then they usually go for the one that's in a better position to kill. Right, so they don't have to think, what do I have to kill? They're like, do I kill the witches? Do I kill the incubi? Do I kill the cabalites? Do I kill the racks? Do I kill this? And then you go, well, I have 6 of the same thing, so I just need to kill one of those 6 things because it's designed the same way, and that one's closer to the objective, so it makes it easier for me and just kill that one thing on the objective, right? And that's how that works. So I hope that answers your question, Monte. I know it was a little long-winded of an answer for that, but when it comes to list building, that's the kind of thing I do. John Fisher says, why don't people like Rust Stalkers? They seem great to me. 14 points like Mandrakes, but 2 wins and 4+. Because they die faster than Mandrakes do in a lot of situations. However, I do love their stratagem to like basically outflank, like pull them from a board edge, bring them in from board edge. Great to do things like scramblers and things like that. So I like them in the list. You just have to sort of plan them. And I believe they compete for some of the slots that you might want to use in a AdMech list. Honestly, great. But a lot of people have started using servitors for actions, right? So, they can just outflank the servitors and get sort of the same result for cheaper. But you can do whatever you need to do with that. Does the Tantalus have a place in competitive lists? Yes, Thomas Orbison, absolutely. Especially Dark Technomancer Tantalus. Now we'll see what sort of obsessions and things like that we get in the new Dark Eldar Codex when that comes out. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed again, please. And we saw a couple of lists with Tantaluses in them, so you can see they're popular. I've taken them to tournaments and won my first major ever with a Tantalus when it was still really expensive, so they have a place. However, they will die quickly if you're not careful. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's List Crunch, which is, to reiterate, a Patreon exclusive video I do where Patreons submit their lists to me and I read them out, go through them, give advice, talk about options, things like that. And I really enjoy my Friday night list crunches. I decided to open the votes, open the doors into the catacombs of the Dark City so that you could get my thoughts. If you'd like to see more and you'd like to support what I do, please consider supporting me on Patreon. The links are down below, but a huge shout out goes out to all of the Denizen community. Where from all over the world, you're the most positive and amazing community that I could have hoped for, and I'm eternally grateful for all the support that I get from you every single day, essentially, because our Discord is awesome, and I love it, just constantly going through it. Anyway, Monty says, thanks for the answer. Thank you for the question. I've been Skari, your grateful host. Sign off until next time. Skari out. The Dark Kin. Bye, everybody.